everyone, it's Emily here at Textile Express, and I'm here to talk to you today about your Me Made summer wardrobe. So ideas for patterns and also ideas for fabrics so that you've got the perfect wardrobe to get you through summer. I have been realistic here. Obviously there are some nice summery ones for if you're on holiday and the weather's beautiful and it's boiling hot, and hopefully we'll get a bit of warm weather here in the UK. But also I've picked some that are practical for summer, so if you're at barbecues or picnics or just enjoying an evening stroll. Obviously in the UK it gets a little bit colder and we don't always get amazing summer weather, so I've picked some key pieces that I use in my wardrobe and I find really useful for spring, summer and even going into autumn dressing as well. So we will start to my right with this very summery piece. So this is a Tilly and the Buttons Stevie pattern, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. It's a pattern that she brought out, I think, in her first collection of patterns, but it's just a really great staple. So it's quite a short dress. You could very easily lengthen it if you don't like mini styles. And then at the back, there's no worrying about zips or any sort of fastenings like that, but there is a very simple button and then elastic loop to close, or there's also a tie option if you're not so keen on the button option. But that's a really great dress for summer, perfect for on a cooler evenings, perhaps just throwing over a denim jacket or a cardigan, something like that. And it's quite a versatile pattern because there's also the option to make it into a top. So that is the top option that we have made up. So this fabric is a Jardin de Fleurs and it's a viscose. So that's a really lovely fabric to choose. It's great for underneath dungarees, dungaree dresses, or even by itself with a skirt, trousers or shorts, however you want to wear it. In the dress option, we've made this one with one of our really fab new cottons. So this one is called the I Love Flowers Multi. We've got lots of other fabrics in this similar quality, so make sure you check those out. But I thought another quite fun option for the Stevie pattern would be a linen, which again would be really nice and cool for the summer. So we do quite a wide selection of colours in this beautiful washed linen fabric. So I'll pull a bit out here. So this is the called natural, I think. Yeah, the natural colour in the washed linen. So this hangs beautifully. And again, it'll keep you nice and cool. It's a lovely soft linen and it's pre-washed as well, which is handy. So yeah, it comes in lots and lots of colours. So we've got sort of neutrals like this, some lovely more muted colours, like this one, which is called the rose pink. But then there's also some really fun colours as well. So whatever your style, we're bound to have a linen to suit. And actually most of the patterns that you can see around me would also work with the linen, and obviously it's just a great cloth for summer. Some of the bright colours that I was talking about would be like this orange, which I just think is fab. It's really fun. So yeah, that would be the Stevie covered. It's a pretty easy sew, mainly because of the lack of fastenings, and also there's not a lot of detail to it. So yeah, if you're an experienced sewer, you can probably whip one of those up in a couple of hours. If it's your first time sewing, it's still a great pattern to start on. For anyone that comes in the store, I highly recommend that. If someone's looking for either a gift for a non-sewer that wants to maybe start sewing, or they want to start sewing themselves, have never done any dressmaking before, that's a really great pattern to start with. If you're, I guess, beginner to intermediate, I think if you're a confident beginner, you could definitely tackle this one. But I've got on another Tilly and the Buttons pattern, and this is the Erin Dungarees. So the first pair of these that I made is in the spring bloom flowers, just behind me here. And then this is a pair that Pavo's whipped up for us this week, and this is in our Rami linen, which is super duper popular, comes in lots of colours. And you'll see the really fun thing about this dungarees is you get an option to put in a funky lining fabric on the bib. That's one of the reasons I suggest, perhaps for a slightly more confident sewer, because I know lining can seem a little bit daunting, but honestly it's really not too bad, and it just gives a really nice finish to it as well, a much tidier finish than having those raw edges on the inside. So even if you're feeling a bit nervous about it, then have a go, and we will, I think next week or the week after, have a sew along for the Erin dungarees coming up. So we'll just have a look at this pattern and see why it's one of my picks for summer. So there is a short option, which is obviously fantastic for the really warm weather. There's a full length version and then also a 3/4 length version, and they are so comfortable to wear. They're loose fitting, you can just throw them on, put a little top on underneath, or I've seen people wearing with like little boob tubes underneath in really hot weather. Just really practical, really comfortable, and because they're so loose fitting, they're really great in the warm weather at keeping you cool. And then if it's getting a bit colder in the evenings, then they also look great chucked, you know, ooh, pen dropping out of my hair, sorry about that. Where was it? They look great in the colder weather with a big slouchy jumper thrown over the top. I decided, I know this is probably a really naughty thing to admit, but on the pair I made, I didn't actually put pockets in them, mainly because I was trying to pattern match up, because it was such a big bold pattern that I went for. But this pair that Pavo has made for me, he's got the pockets in the front, and I must admit I think I probably should have put the pockets in my first pair, because it's just handy to have pockets, isn't it, really? So both of these ones have been made in a linen or a linen style fabric. The Spring Blooms is a linen viscose mix, that's why it hangs so beautifully. And then this one is in the Rami linen. Again, the washed linens would be great for the dungarees, or it's quite a versatile pattern because you can also use it with knits. So we've got some really fun jersey and some more heavier textured knits in at the moment, so again they'd be great for the Erin. Just depends how confident you are sewing with stretch fabrics. And then to my left, moving on, this is actually one of our own tutorials. So if you don't know already, on our website we have a huge selection of tutorials. We try to add at least one new tutorial a month. There's all sorts of fun things, from really simple gift bags, tote bags, to picnic blankets, and then there's also some patterns. So everything that you need will be on the tutorial. If you need a pattern, there'll be a free PDF download, so definitely check that out. I will put a link in the description below. So this is one that we did last summer. So as you'll see, it's a sheared dress. If you're not familiar with that term, it's actually where you stitch with elastic, and that's how you get this sort of ruching effect. And it means that you've got a nice stretchy bodice that then can fit to anyone really. So this is a really great no waste make. It's actually just using one width of fabric, but if you needed a bit more fullness, then of course you can join two widths together to give you that extra body. And when we initially made it, we made it as a mini. This is actually a full length dress. So great, I think the mini perhaps for a more casual option, but if you wanted to dress it up, then the full length option is really great too. Or if you just wanted to keep your legs covered, I know I much prefer a full length option to a mini option. We've put this nice little tie detail on the straps, but if you prefer, you could do them as solid straps. For this one, we've made it in a linen viscose, which is nice and drapey, and then this one is in a really gorgeous soft drape polyester fabric. So I've picked out a couple of other designs of the similar fabric to show you, just as different options, because the different fabrics can make such a difference to the appearance. So this is one of our brand new fabrics. It's called Dalmatian Floral in blue, and you'll see it's got a really gorgeous soft drape to it. So that will hang beautifully on the sheared dress or any other outfit that you would like, with a really soft drape and a beautiful, it'll hang beautifully. Something where you don't want the skirt to be too full, you want it just to feel relaxed and floaty. So I pulled out this Dalmatian Floral, and then also this really lovely spot, which is called the Vintage Spot in green, which again has the very similar handle. It's slightly more lightweight than the Dalmatian floral, but still when gathered up, you're not going to have to worry about lining it at all. And I just thought that was a really pretty fresh coloured green, perfect for the summer, and also nice if you're not really into florals, because I know there's a lot of florals about. Not everyone likes wearing florals, so a spot is just a really classic, lovely option. While we're looking at those fabrics, I will just pull out another one of our tutorials. It's, I guess, similar to this one. Again, it's a no waist pattern, but it's just a really simple, showing off the seam there, a really simple skirt, just with an elasticated waist, but we've set down the elastic slightly so that you've got a lovely frill at the top, which is just a nice feature. These are great for spring summer, teamed with a little cami top, or t-shirt, or we've got ours styled in store, and we'll pop a little picture below with the Tilly and the Buttons pearl, I think it's called, the pearl cardigan, which is a little wrap cardi. So these are super duper quick to make. I think most of you could make these in under an hour, definitely, even if you've never tried sewing before. Really simple. You can make them as short, as long as you like, and you can also, obviously, depending on how much elastic you put in, you could make them for children. Yeah, so great pattern, very quick to make, and works really well with the soft drape fabrics, like these ones that we've pulled out on the table. And then our final pattern, which I was going to feature, is again another Tilly and the Buttons classic. So this is the indigo, which you can see on the end. I'll just move these across a little bit. So this is our most recent version of the indigo. So on this one we went for the straight sleeve option. It's a really simple dress, there's no fastenings, it's just a case of throw it on and go. So again, simple to sew, but a little bit more complicated than the Stevie that you see here, because there's this gathering to do into the waistband, and there is a dart on the bust. So again, that shouldn't put beginners off, but just very slightly more challenging than the Stevie. We've made this one in a really gorgeous cotton, which is called the Hedgerow Birds, and it's sort of an arts and crafts William Morris style print with the little hedgerow birds on it. I thought this was quite nice to add in because it's got the longer sleeve option, and obviously, like I mentioned before, in the UK, not always great weather, so it just gives you the option on a cooler day to keep covered up but still feel nice and summery in a gorgeous dress. Some of the options that I have pulled out for this, this is a brand new fabric that we've had in. I think it's called, it is Chamomile Clusters, and this is a viscose. This is one of our French viscoses, so they're not quite as drapey as a traditional viscose. They feel almost more like a lawn. That's very clearly indicated on the listings, or we do also do free samples if you want to feel the fabric before making a purchase. But I just thought it absolutely screams summer. It's gorgeous, nice bright colours, and just a really pretty floral design, but it's quite abstract in a way, so if you're not a floral lover, I think most people will hopefully like this, especially if you're into your bold colours. But again, it's got a lovely handle and drape, and it'll feel nice and cool against the skin in on warmer days. So that's really lovely. Like I said before, it's the Chamomile Clusters fabric. And then the final option that I've pulled out is one of our cotton poplins. So as you'll see from me holding it out on the table, this is slightly narrower width. So just bear in mind, if you're purchasing fabric for a pattern, they usually have a breakdown on the back of how much fabric you need for a wider width fabric, and then also for a narrower width fabric. So just make sure you pay attention to that. All the widths of our fabrics are on the listings, so just double check. Or if you have any queries or need a bit of help, you can always give us a call, pop us a message in our chat box online, or of course send us an email if it's outside business hours. But this is the Trudy Pastel, and these cotton poplins are gorgeous. They're super duper soft. They'll give a lovely crisp finish to these gathers along the dress, and it would give a slightly fuller appearance, then say if you were to make the indigo out of something like one of these soft drapes, either is very, very usable for the project, but they'll just have a slightly different look. So the skirt on one made out of the cotton poplin would have more of this appearance, where the pleats are quite defined, or the gathers I should say, are quite defined, and the skirt looks quite full. Whereas on one of the soft drape fabrics, they'll hang much more loosely and it'll have a floatier appearance. The skirt won't sort of stick out slightly because it won't have the same body that a poplin has. But we've got a huge selection of cotton poplins. This is just one that I thought was really lovely for summer, with the off-white background and then all of these sort of sorbet ice cream colours. Really, really pretty. And again, it feels beautiful against your skin, which was one of the main things that I think for summer, when you're choosing fabrics, you just want them to feel nice. Because if you're feeling a bit hot and a bit flustered, there's nothing worse than then also feeling, I don't know, claustrophobic in your own clothes. But all these ones I've picked, they'll feel lovely, and they'll help you feel nice and cool. Just to finish off, I will talk a little bit more about the indigo pattern, which I have got here. So it's similar to the Stevie. There's also a top option with it, which I haven't made yet, but I do think is really cute, with just almost like a peplum bottom to it. And there are 2 sleeved options. So you'll see on this one, it's got quite full sleeves, and I've got an example here. So this is a dress that we made in our cotton ginghams a few years ago, and we went for that colour clashing sort of colour blocking, I guess. But that is your 2 sleeve options. So you can have this really fun full sleeve, which I think is quite fun for weddings really, or parties, you know, just make it a bit more of a statement piece. Or perhaps you just don't like full sleeves, or you want something slightly more conservative, then you've got this really lovely straight sleeve option as well. So I hope that's been helpful. If you're looking for patterns that are a bit more dressy, then check out our, we did a video last year, but I think you'll find all the patterns would still be relevant to the fashions today. And that was ideas for if you're a wedding guest. So that's a really great tutorial to check out. It's a really great one to check out for inspiration too. But just to run them through them one more time. So we've got the lovely mini dress, which is the Stevie Tilly and the Buttons pattern. Dungarees for everyday wearing in the summer, and that's the Tilly and the Buttons Erin dungarees. Then we've got the indigo here, which you've got quite a few different options, can be dressed up or down. And then finally, one of our great no-waste tutorials, the sheared summer dress. If you're making up any of these patterns in our fabrics, we always love to see what you've been making, so please share your photos. Tag us on Instagram or Facebook or whichever socials you use, and we'll see you again really soon. Thank you for joining us.